What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now, today we're looking at something new. This is the FreeTiger FT903. This is a D2 blade running on bearings. It is G10 on steel liners. Now, Jay over at the Knife Beater actually reviewed this exact same knife. Well, not this knife, but a black one. And it really caught my eye because there is some really interesting stuff going on here. Not the least of which is how similar this logo and this text is to another knife company. It looks a lot like the Ganzo Firebird and has a very similar well, the text is very similar too, and the materials are similar, and the screws are the same, and the pivots are the same, and the way that the lock bars are done is exactly the same. And so I'm not sure if this is Ganzo or if Ganzo has been Ganzoed. I honestly don't know. What I do know is that out of the box, this thing has just phenomenal action. It is very comfortable in hand, although it is a little short for me. And one of the things that Knife Beater mentioned and that I agree with is that this shape pushes you back kind of far from the blade. But man, what a blade. It is very, very slicey and very, very sharp right out of the box. I don't know who FreeTiger is. I do know that these are about, I don't know, 25, 26 bucks, 23 bucks, something like that on Amazon. And in the short time that I've had this, I will recommend this knife for a budget blade. It is really very, very good, on par with any of the Ganzos that I have. And the blade shape alone, look at that. It's got the swedge across the top, lots of belly. You can see the grind lines on it, which is not coming through on the camera, but they actually go this way. It's a beautiful knife. It really is. And at that dollar value for this size blade, this is a great knife. Now, do I wish this was a choil so that I could choke up? Yeah, because I have big old hands. But I'll tell you who loves this thing, and I'll also explain why it's purple. Women Carry Knives loves this knife. And she's going to do a review on it. And it is built much more for her hand than for mine. But that doesn't change the fact that it is a well-executed budget knife in D2. We assume. I don't really know. But we'll, you know, as with all new knife companies that come along, eventually somebody will test it. Here's what I do know. Well, what do I know? I know that it is very, like I said, well-designed. And what do I mean by that? Well, you see this line right here? That's a little bit of a swell on the handle. Now, the handle itself is not very thick, but this swell, man, this line, this ridge makes such good grip. Your fingers come up just on top of it when you're holding the knife for push cuts. There is no wiggle here. The blade is set into the knife perfectly. There is no blade rock. There is no lock rock. The action is superb. I wonder if I can shake it out. Nope. Lockup is just about 25%, which maybe you can see, maybe you can't. It's not an early lockup, it's not a late lockup. It has full contact with the lock bar. The lock bar is easily accessible from these cutouts. And the whole thing, steel liners, which are no, excuse me, this one is not. The liners aren't milled. It is a little bit heavy. Pocket clip is not fantastic, as you can see. Although, to be fair, you only have about that much knife sticking out, which is not much at all. I love a good budget knife. And this feels very much like a good budget knife. Now, I don't know, again, who FreeTiger is, but the FreeTiger FT903 in D2 is really good. As long as you're not afraid of some billboarding. So there's the FreeTiger name and logo. And on this side, it actually says FreeTiger again with the knife, with the number of the knife. And it says D2. That's a lot of billboarding. I get that. Let's take a minute and look at the blade. It has this beautiful swedge across the top. It has jimping right where you want it to be. Look how thick that is. Look at that. Comes this nice fat swell right here before diving down to a very robust and usable tip. The grind is perfect on both sides, from top to bottom. There is no smile down here. Right here at the bottom of the sharpening choil, excuse me, let's get that back in frame. The grind is perfect. There is nothing to interfere with the cutting path at all. Man, this is really good. It really is. And I love it, just in the short time it's been here. It's been a while. Harns is another budget company that's come along and really caught my attention. But I don't know, again, I don't know who FreeTiger is, but they caught my eye. Here it is up against the Rat Model 1. As you can see, it is a much smaller knife than the Rat 1. But it does have actually more cutting area. So you get way less knife in the pocket with equal amount of blade. And since it says D2, and I'm going to go ahead and accept that it is, you get a better blade than you do on the Rat 1. What else can we compare it against? Here it is up against the Evo Typhoon by Sharp by Design and Brian Nadeau. I admit it, I just happen to have this thing in my pocket, but it's not a bad size comparison. Here it is against the FH, what is this, a 71? Excuse me, the FH61, which I showed you a minute ago. Now, the FH61 is a very small knife. This is just not a big knife, but it's not a small knife either. It is a really good mid-size, mid-weight user. And again, I am just in love with that blade. I just am. God, that's good. Let's see how thick the D2 is, just for giggles. There we go. At the thickest point, we are at 3.56 millimeters, which is just at 3.5 millimeters, which isn't too bad. The handle itself, I mentioned that ridge. Now that is interesting. Let's see what happens. If we go without the ridge, which is silly because it's there, we're at under 1/2 inch. If we bring in the ridge, we are just over 1/2 inch. It really does ride the pocket very well. Now, again, this pocket clip is not my favorite thing in the world. It is very simple and straightforward stamped steel. It is a little narrow back here, so really thick pants aren't going to be great. But because of this ramp, it does, in fact, slip in and out of the pocket very, very well. It has a lanyard hole in the black G10 backspacer. It's so snappy. Let's do some measurements. The FreeTiger gets you 1 to 3.5 inches of cutting surface on a D2 blade, on 3.5 inches overall, because of the way that it is set into the handle. The grip area, if we move just past the flipper tab there, you get 1 to 3.5 all the way to the end, which is why it's a little short for my hand. But for most people, that is going to be very, very good. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3/4, almost just at, well, just 7 3/4 inches long, which is a really good size for EDC. And as you can see, they come in purple, which is Women Carry Knives' favorite color. Let's weigh it. As I said, it is not milled out on those liners, so I'm a little curious to see how much it weighs. I mean, I could look it up online, but what fun is that? It weighs 4.1 ounces. Yeah, if they'd have milled out these liners, you would have saved some weight, but then it would have cost more. And this is, again, a 23, 25, something like that. It's about 25 bucks on Amazon. It's just an unbeatable price. Now, of course, we don't know, because it's a new knife company and one I've never heard of, if this really is D2, but, oh God, that is thin. It's so slicey. Here's what I've come to believe. Sure, there are companies, F & Grow being one of them, that are still using not quite real D2 a lot. But for the most part, my experience lately has been with budget knives from China, if it says D2, it is. And that's because they've, for the most part, come to understand that that's what's going to sell knives. So here we are running on bearings, D2, excellently executed knife with perfect fit and finish. There are no gaps or flaws. It really is very nice. For about 25 bucks. If you're looking for something new and something a little different than every other Ganzo or Harns or whatever, these are on Amazon right now, and I think they're worth your attention. There is one other knife under the same brand, but I don't know about that one. I haven't had a chance to look at it, so I can't recommend that. But I can, and do, for budget-friendly stuff, recommend the FreeTiger FT903. This is a fun and interesting knife, and again, since it came in purple, it makes a really good gift for women carry knives. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I know I've enjoyed showing it to you. I love when stuff like this comes across the table because it is a ton of fun. I want to once again thank Jay over at the Knife Beater for bringing this to my attention. I'll put a link to his channel down below in the description. If you haven't liked the video here yet, please do so on your way out. It does help the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please take a minute and do that. I share budget knives and not budget knives and everything in between. That's what I do here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.